something like Yellowstar having Annie, because he's so good on it.
Well, I'm expecting Kassadin to maybe taking away Yasuo being used as that ban. Interesting, because we haven't yet seen that perform that brilliantly in the LCS. So this time, Fnatic do have a ban. What will Soaz go with?
Kassadin or Kayle or Elise. That's my 3 ideas. It was the Kassadin. I think actually they just expected the first pick Kassadin due to all the bans towards the mid lane and everything they could actually do well versus Kassadin in lane. So Copenhagen Wolves kind of set up this ban.
Well, it is Elise's first pick straight away for the Copenhagen Wolves. And it's going to be amazing in the jungle, we suspect. So, with all these options open, what will Fnatic go for? Will it be that Annie? Will it be Jinx?
We have pretty much everything else open except for Pekka's picks. He can go for a Kayle though, if it is. But now we have the Jinx, we have the Annie, we have Thresh, we have Dr. Mundo top lane, we have Trundle, we even have Lee Sin for Cyanide, and we also have Renekton.
Well, Renekton maybe taking it away for Youngbuck. If anyone's going to know how to counter it, it will be Youngbuck. It's predominantly his main champion. There is potentially Yellowstar's Annie. Haven't been locked in yet. They've got 10 seconds to make that choice. There is the Annie chosen, and there is the Renekton for Soaz.
Now what will Youngbuck actually answer with? We saw him play Renekton versus Trundle matchup versus Wicked, went fairly even, and he's been talking about how he thinks Trundle is very strong at the moment. Will we see him pick it up? If they get this kill as well though, they're getting a lot of the strong picks.
So I want to cast your mind back to the Season 3 finals. You were there yourself, you were alongside me, and there was counters to Renekton every step of the way in that.
There were counters, I mean, well, nothing really that beats him in lane, but more things that could go even with him. Trundle can do fairly well. Then there's something like a Shen, who can actually hold his ground versus Renekton. He will get pushed down to the turret, but at least he's able to farm and not die to the Renekton early game.
Well, Kayle has slipped through the cracks due to those bound potentials, and maybe Cowtard is going to go with it. Yes, he will, and also, this could be unlimited on Karma support.
Yeah, it's a very mobile team already.
Or is it Karma top?
I haven't seen Youngbuck play much AP champions, except for the Vladimir, but I've actually never seen him play something like a Karma or a Ken in top, or so I'm not expecting him. We saw Unlimited play Karma last week. It went fairly well, and it's pretty good versus Annie because you can stop some of the burst with your shield, and you have a lot of poke early game versus the Annie.
Well, you got a long range as well. Zed being hovered over here. Is this going to be Peke? Will it be Cyanide maybe as well? Because we have seen Jungle Zed coming out of Diamond, remember, just last week. Reckless, of course, with the other choice. I'm expecting Jinx from Reckless here.
Yeah, Jinx with Annie, we've seen it before for Fnatic. Oh, if they do this Caitlyn though, a bit more safe, and once they get to the real late game part, he's actually going to start doing a lot. But we have seen him before when he couldn't really get kills in the lane, how Fnatic were kind of slow at getting started.
Olaf potentially coming out for Cyanide in that jungle. Sivir we just saw on Candy Panda. Reckless is saying, oh, I'll show you how to play that champion.
Well, Sivir Olaf, it's a combo that fits together really well. You can just dive onto the backline with it. You have so much move speed, and you can't stop an Olaf once he pops his ultimate. So I expect the Sivir pick to be more to help the Olaf out, the more just Reckless what he wanted to play himself personally.
Yeah, and it's a scary thing with a Ragnarok on the hunt.
Yes, exactly.
Olaf coming charging at you, and with Ghost as well. He could be piling through that team. Looks like it may be Trundle in that top lane. Maybe Youngbuck looked at that lane matchup that he had against Wicked, where he lost out effectively against Trundle with Renekton, and he feels he can do the same up against Soaz.
It's going to be a true test for him right now. Just you said, he played against Wicked all the way around, and he actually lost it. He needs to go in and show now towards the source that Trundle is the stronger pick, and that he doesn't mind playing against Renekton at all.
Oh, he's got teleport selected currently. It is going to get locked in. That's going to be a Caitlyn and Karma bottom lane as well. Final choice here. What will Peke go with?
We have a lot of bans on the mid lane.
Won't be Teemo though.
Probably not the Teemo.
Probably not Tristana either. Ziggs available. Kha'Zix available.
Kha'Zix is open, yeah. I mean, Zed is still open, but it would be kind of counter-picking yourself into a Kayle. Ziggs would provide a lot of wave clear for them. They right now have Olaf and Sivir to do most of the wave clearing. Together with Ziggs, it's going to be very hard to push on them. And at the same time, he can stay back and help Reckless a little bit, dealing with, the Trundle running in.
Yeah, he can slow them down, he can blow them up, he can throw their Mega Inferno bombs from range as well to back up Cyanide as he charges through the team. So, what do we make of the two picks? Fnatic had a lot of what they wanted, I feel, here. And as did the Copenhagen Wolves. I feel that they're both going to be happy coming out picks and bans.
Yeah, I think both teams are pretty satisfied. I like what Fnatic has done here. They have very little instant single target burst damage. It's more AoE based, you know. Olaf, they want everyone to go in and get multiple targets low, so Kartra doesn't know exactly who to ult. If they'd gone for more, you know, single target heavy combo, it would be a lot easier for Kartra to do, you know, his ultimates. Right now though, I actually really enjoy or like Fnatic's combo, and I think if they get to the team fights with a fairly farmed Olaf, with the speed up from Sivir, he can do a lot of damage, and we can actually see Cyanide really stepping up his game.
Well, remember, this is the first game of the day for the Copenhagen Wolves. They're currently 3-3 up against Fnatic, who are now 6-0. The perfect start for them. And as this match begins, let's total up the votes. According to LoLeSports.com, a whopping 90% of you have picked Fnatic to continue their winning streak. No surprises, I don't think.
No, you can't really be surprised. They have won every single game so far, and they're looking so dominant. Going into this game, pick-wise, I will also give it to Fnatic.
We'll see whether they do manage to continue their winning ways. Of course, if you've missed any of the action today, get over to LoLeSports.com and you can, which you're probably watching it on now, to be honest. Most people will be on there watching the stream. So you're watching us on there, just a couple of tabs in the top. Open a couple of new tabs and you can check out all the stats, everything that is on that website. So, as the game loads in, you're predicting Fnatic to win this. I think I'm going to have to go with you. We'll see, though, ladies and gentlemen, as the Copenhagen Wolves take on Fnatic.
We have to point out one thing.
Okay.
If we go to the late game with a Kayle and a Caitlyn on Copenhagen Wolves' side,
yes,
they will actually be able to do a lot of damage. And also Trundle, once he steals the stats from the Necton, will be very hard to kill. So this actually, it's so even.
Well, there's a lot of pressure on Kautar to play that Kayle. We've seen some absolutely magnificent Kayles from the likes of Overpower so far, so we'll see how it works out. So, Copenhagen Wolves starting out as the blue team and Fnatic as the red team, and it's looking like Fnatic may well have something up their sleeve.
They are at least, every one of them, moving to the bottom side of the jungle. Will they actually try and go in and force Forgiven out and maybe get some vision control in the jungle of Copenhagen Wolves?
As it stands, we have a dancing Cyanide. Peke stood off to the side there. And it is going to be Peke heading in there. Unlimited will step away from this one. Yellow Star moving in with that stun ready and waiting. Soaz is going to be backing him up. There's a 4-man invade down towards this bottom lane, but Forgiven does manage to land a shot, and Soaz, who continues to do a little dance.
Now, Copenhagen Wolves is a team who always talks about lane swapping. They like to lane swap even in the new patch. It will be surprising to see if they, or actually going to be exciting to see what they will do right here. Do they want to avoid having Youngblood versus Soaz or not?
Star continues to keep them poked. Youngblood desperately trying to get in there. Does manage to put the ward down, waiting for them timers, of course, to come up and immediately throwing down all those wards. So despite that invade, it was really only about simply getting a ward in the tribush.
One thing we have to touch on. We have Ignite on Soaz, Teleport on Youngblood. This should give a huge deal or advantage for Soaz early game, and he should be able to bully out Youngblood.
That's something that I remember Froggen always saying, you only take teleport if you're planning on losing the lane. Youngblood, however, takes it because he believes that's how you win the lane with a Trundle. We'll see if it works out, see if this theory crafting has worked out for him. Cyanide taking the red buff, starting off there. Blue buff start for amazing. No invades coming out from either team.
Very standard start all around. We're going to see pretty much every lane we wanted. It's going to be fun to see how much Unlimited can actually do early game with his insane poke on Karma.
Yeah, Reckless already taking some burst there from Unlimited and Forgiven. So immediately dropped to half the hit points, which means that lane will be shoved a little bit. Remember, Reckless, he started off as MVP in week 1, unkillable in the first 3 games, finally went down in his 4th game, but setting records in the LCS for KDA.
Now, this mid lane, Peke has been so amazing, this LCS. Pretty much every game he's winning his lane and he's just rotating around the map making plays. Can he do the same though versus Kautar, who's having Kayle, a champion he really likes to play?
Cyanide takes that blue buff, no problems there. We'll see whether he goes for any kills maybe in any of the lanes. Doesn't seem that any lane needs any help or support, so let's keep our focus on this one, because Kautar, we mentioned it at the start, how he's played 6 different champions. This time it was his choice. He had a lot open to him and he chose to go for Kayle.
I think Copenhagen Wolves, instantly as they heard about the bans, just said, you know, we want to try and get 2 of these very strong picks. So there was really no doubt when they actually picked the Kayle.
And Elise, of course, being that first one, which a lot of junglers do prize as being one of those top picks right now. Forgiven stunned up. Cyanide coming around the side there. Not enough damage done, but the Axe does manage to land on towards Unlimited. Do manage to get the slow once again on towards him. Picks up the Axe once again. Gets that reset. Coming down. Unlimited will be first blood. It's Cyanide that goes down. Amazing. Sidesteps on the Cocoon. Teleport coming down from Cowtown. Youngbuck, sorry, catching on towards him. Cyanide taking low. Good pillar of filth there, catching him down. Does manage to get a return kill. Cyanide going down. That's a double buff transition as well. They're going to continue chasing. Piltover doesn't find his home, but that's Youngbuck now with a double buff.
And that's action from the start. Great gang from Cyanide at first. He walks all the way around, so there's no wall to spot him in the river, and he managed to pick up the kill. The TP though, for Youngbuck, if he didn't pick up the kill, he would have been very far behind. He does manage to get the double buff now as well, so once he returns to lane, let's see what he can do with it.
Well, he's going to be up against Soaz. We'll see whether it works out for him. Of course, he did lose out on farm while he did that, and you can see obviously Soaz has shoved that wave on towards the turret, got himself a lead in the farm. Youngbuck, of course, returning with that chain vest, expecting to have to butt heads with Soaz. Soaz himself is backing up as well. He's going for the Doran's Blade, so he wants to keep the pressure on.
He wants to fight. He even picked up a longsword right now, so he's expecting Youngbuck to go aggressive on him, and he wants to be able to respond.
Well, three-man push still coming out from the Copenhagen Wolves in his bottom lane. Amazing sticking around and really putting pressure on towards that bottom lane turret. They want to try and take a big advantage over Fnatic here. That Boomerang Blade coming out, but Yellowstar and Reckless kind of helpless here because Reckless still yet to go back. Still only at half health, just trying to take down those minions. And again, that turret nearly down already.
Yeah, I mean, Copenhagen Wolves can keep pushing this because as you just said, Reckless, he's on 50% and he hasn't backed yet. So there's pretty much no threat of them actually dying to this 3v3 from Fnatic's side.
Yeah, they're keeping the pressure down. Youngbuck in that mid lane. Peke is going to get focused on. Does blow Cowtown back. Cowtown himself with no mana, so he's going to have to back away from that one. It's the bottom lane we want to focus on though. Youngbuck is going to come around. Is he coming for the middle? He is.
Youngbuck is just making plays all around the map. He's just saying, you know what, I don't want to deal with you, Source, at all. I'm going to try ganking mid now.
Well, Cowtown setting up for this one. Has got Flash Ignite if he needs it. Does manage to get the pillar down on Peke, but again, can't get close enough. That's the bottom turret going down though.
Yes, and I think actually Youngbuck moved down because they wanted to try and set up a dragon. Oh, Peke going in.
Peke almost taking Cowtown down. Very, very low on health, and now Soaz is going to try and bully out Youngbuck. Remember that double buff. Didn't really make too much use of it. Teleported in as well.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't really have a chance to do anything with it, especially because, oh, Peke getting caught.
Well, amazing. If he lands the Cocoon, not going to happen. And now Cyanide can turn this one around. Does manage to land one axe. The second one will be coming in a second. Sidesteps it, but Peke is keeping the damage down. The bomb rolls in. It's Peke that picks up another kill.
Horribly backfired for Amazing right here. He tried to pick up a kill alone. Cyanide was there. He didn't have a flash on Amazing from the fight bot lane. And once he got hit by the first axe, even though the second one missed, they still managed to pick up the kill.
Youngbuck in that top lane is going to get bullied out here by Soaz. The pillar going down, trying to keep Soaz away, and has to instead blocked himself out and forced himself down river.
But look at Youngbuck. He's only level 5 to the level 6 of Soaz. So Soaz right now has a huge lead in this lane.
And Soaz with that dominus just forces Youngbuck out, stuns him perfectly out of tower range as well, getting free damage onto Youngbuck. And Youngbuck, you know, he picked into this lane, and at the moment it seems to be backfiring horribly.
It's backfiring right now. But later in the game, he will be able to duel Soaz and actually, you know, get some revenge.
Well, Peke and Cowtown back in this mid lane. We do see Athene's and Holy Grail being picked up by Peke. Looks like Cowtown went for a bit of that attack speed. Probably going to go for the Nash's Tooth to start with.
Notice how Fnatic's bot lane is just completely frozen the lane. Reckless is catching up in CS right now and also catching up in level. Instead, Copenhagen Wolves have to rotate mid and trying to push on this 6. That's not going to be easy.
Well, the Wolves are focusing on towards Cyanide right now. They have got a ward down there, and that's going to be the ultimate being used by Cyanide, making sure he doesn't get stunned out there.
Yeah, he just instantly pops it, not taking any chances. He doesn't want to take any poke from them.
Yeah, Ragnarok doing its job. Copenhagen Wolves, though, now have 4 members, and when you have a Kayle and a Caitlyn, you can do a lot of damage to a turret.
A lot, but when you have a 6 on the other side, you can do a lot of damage to the minions, and it's very hard to hit the turret.
The Wolves rotating around instead. They want to go for the blue buff invade here. However, will they get there in time? It will spawn in a second, I feel. The ward's getting placed there. There it is. Right on cue.
Fnatic just instantly counters, goes to Copenhagen Wolves blue and say, you know what, we'll just trade.
But this could give the dragon across to the Wolves because they're out of position now.
They're completely out of position. Smart call by Copenhagen Wolves. They instantly realize they're at their own blue buff and just take the dragon. Yes. Beautiful play.
Good rotations there. It's normally Fnatic we praise for it. This time around, the Copenhagen Wolves certainly coming out on top in that rotation move. So, gold, all even once again. Youngbuck doing his job in this top lane, keeping him at bay, but he has still got that gap in CS because he went for that kill down the bottom lane early on.
It will still be very hard for Source though to actually take down the turret. There's a teleport on Youngbuck, so if he ports away now and Source is pushing the lane, he might be able to take it in exchange. But if Youngbuck can manage to pick up a kill or two for his team, it will be worth it for him.
But there is also this big gap building. Peke, 70 to 47 now. Of course, Countard having to back away earlier. Kill was picked up by Peke on towards Amazing as well. Now with that blue buff, he's going to keep on shoving this wave.
He's sharing XP with Yellowstar right now though. Yellowstar is only level 5, they need him to be level 6 so he can start setting up the place with the Tibbers. But for now, they're happy just having Reckless farming.
Yeah, Reckless has been on his own down that bottom lane. Cyanide keeping vision. Youngbuck, oh, he's warded out the tri-bush. He's not going to be aware of this 2v1 gank coming in here. Youngbuck is going to be able to try and flash away from this one if he needs to. He's going to try and run away, has to flash instead, and will get away. Peke was closing the gap as well.
He was very tanky though. He's almost having his Sunfire completed. Didn't go for the Bedroom King as his early item.
Stun used on Unlimited, immediately turning it back around though and poking back on towards Reckless and Yellowstar. While this is all happening, of course, you can see Forgiven just beating down that turret, almost taking the inner turret out here.
If they keep this pressure up, because they know where Cyanide is, they might actually be able to get, not the tower, but at least a lot of damage on it.
Ace in the hole on Yellowstar, keeping him low once again. Yet more poke coming out from Limited, beating on towards that turret. This could be the second turret of the game, and an inner one is a very important turret to take. And now it's going to give up for Copenhagen Wolves to just rotate and take that mid turret. They have kept them off it just for now.
They can't engage due to Yellowstar being level 5. He used so much time in the mid lane where he shared XP and just gave solo XP to Reckless. Had he had the Tibbers, they could maybe have gone for the fight.
Yeah, they wisely back away. They knew that Cyanide was missing on the map. Youngbuck taking damage from Soaz. Soaz just happy to tank out that turret again. Continue to drill down on him on that turret. Youngbuck doing what he can to keep Soaz away.
It's actually been quite a good early game from Copenhagen Wolves' side. They managed to pick up a lot of gold, especially from the Dragon, but also the teleport from Youngbuck was very nice. They got a return kill, and they're taking down the bot tower for it as well.
So what do we make of Soaz on Renekton? Because, you know, this is a player that's known for saying he absolutely hates tanky champions, yet since he's played, we've seen him playing Shen, we've seen him playing Renekton. He's played brilliantly on them.
That's Source as a player. He can play everything, and he can perform on everything. Putting him on this Renekton means you're going to have complete dominance in the top lane for the first 20-25 minutes, and then you can turn it into team fights if needed. He will have an issue split pushing though versus the Trundle later in the game.
Amazing's trying to sneak himself into the bush. Potential gank setup. No, minion wave comes in too quick, and Amazing just instead takes a bit of lane tax.
We're hitting a very slow point right now, especially just Peke instantly pushing this wave all the time.
Cyanide waiting in the top bush, but middle turret also being taken down for free while Coulthard is away. We do have Amazing closing the gap, but it's Youngbuck that may well be in trouble. Amazing will keep them away from that middle turret. And Youngbuck's like,
They might just want to force down this turret and ignore Youngbuck under it. He's still quite tanky. He doesn't have his ulti though.
Yeah, here comes Cyanide, pops out that ghost, he's going to go in, instead it's Youngbuck that's in trouble, he's going to get taken down. It's an easy kill for Fnatic.
That was great kill, and they knew he didn't have his ultimate and his flash from before, so they pick up this kill and the turret. Nice play by Fnatic.
Turret goes down the bottom lane. Meanwhile, we do see the duo lane of Forgiven Unlimited pushing. He's got Amazing in support. Ace in the hole coming out on Yellowstar. Not too many hits left on that turret, and Amazing will help him. That's going to be the inner turret, surely going down in a second.
Yeah, this is great by Copenhagen Wolves. Once again, they know where Cyanide is, and they just instantly shove it up to the turret. They can now take the turret down here and maybe rotate towards mid lane.
Yeah, that's the turret down. Amazing. 3 members coming in there. Peke already backing out the correct route. Counter will clear out that wave and keep that turret. However, there's been a lot of pressure coming out from Peke on towards that middle turret. They're trying to set up for a gank, but again, great vision from Fnatic here, knowing exactly what's happening.
They know exactly what's happening. Peke instantly, as they move away from the bot lane, he's just walking out, not taking any chances. We might see a fight coming in here, though, or will they just try and catch someone?
The thing is, they all pass the wards in that banana bush, so they know that they are around there. This is why we're seeing Reckless playing so cautiously. He's just keeping well away from that danger. So the Copenhagen Wolves really are just wasting time here. There's a minute 20 before the Dragon, so the blue buff will be up in a second.
The blue buff will be up, but Fnatic has to try and contest this one, so there might be a fight anyway, even though they know they're there.
There is the blue buff this time around. Cyanide is close by, so that means the smite will be available, but if he uses it on this, it won't be up for the Dragon.
And we have Source moving down already. There's TP and Youngbuck. He can join the fight as well. It seems Copenhagen Wolves just backs out.
Yeah, they realize the danger of the situation, and
they're in a terrible
while this is all
position.
happening, Fnatic, they're going to go in, they're going to take the middle turret.
And this is what Fnatic always does. If you are in the wrong position at the wrong time, they will punish you. Immediately moving for the turret, and now also the blue buff of Copenhagen Wolves.
Yeah, the blue buff, they knew that it was up because they had that back and forth last time, and they also knew that the Dragon will be up in around about 30 seconds time, so they need to start making a move for that one. It will be the blue buff taken away. Reckless being given that one by Soaz.
Peggy just used his ultimate to clear the huge wave in top lane. He won't have it if there should be a team fight. A little bit of disadvantage for him, but all in all, if they can manage to, you know, stall this until his ultimate is up, it won't really make a big deal.
Yeah, because it is a very short cooldown. Soaz has returned to that top lane now, so Youngbuck, of course, that's the thing with the fact that he's got Renekton. He can interrupt that teleport if he needs to. If Youngbuck, they try and force that 4v4. The Wolves are moving for Dragon. And
so is Soaz. He's running down now. Dragon is up. Wolves might be able to rush it down with the teleport as well. Youngbuck stays top and pushes.
Yeah, he's going to stay in the top. In fact, it's Fnatic. They're pushing for the inner turret, so they may well lose the Dragon, but they're going to get a good chunk of damage on this turret, if not take it completely.
But will Copenhagen Wolves try and engage from behind? We see TP coming in on the turret, though, for Youngbuck.
Youngbuck going to get in there, but what's he going to do? The rest of the Wolves are coming around the back there. A good pillar will land on towards Fnatic. Now they're going to close the gap. They land a lot of slows. It's a big pincer move, which is a dangerous play, but Soaz is taking all the damage.
Wow.
Flash Timbers comes out from Yellowstar, though, turning it straight back around, and now it's going to be Soaz running for his life. Youngbuck's catching in the back there. Round the side is Kautar, but they are all split targeted, and now Kautar's in trouble. The stun's going to be available. There it is. Peke throws out the bomb, and that's another kill picked up by Fnatic. Now Peke, he flashes through. He sends his blood onto Forgiven. The bomb comes in, and now that's a double. Now they're on towards the inner turret.
There were no front line for Copenhagen Wolves because Youngbuck came in from behind or from his own turret, while the rest of the team collapsed on him from, you know, the other side around, so it was too easy for Fnatic to simply pick up the first target, and Kautar couldn't even ultimate him in time.
So many advantages from that one fight being picked up by Fnatic. The red buff being taken away, the bottom turret being taken away, the inner turret taken away. Copenhagen Wolves thought they'd pulled a fast one going for that Dragon, but Fnatic read them like a book.
And once again, the team fighting and the rotation of Fnatic is just top class. They know exactly what they're doing, and as soon as they saw Copenhagen Wolves coming in for the fight, they were ready, and Yellowstar went in with the tippers and started everything.
So that turns the goal advantage hugely in Fnatic's favor. A 3,000 advantage picked up by them, and 6-1 in kills with all of the lanes being won out now. I hesitantly say all the lanes because Forgiven versus Reckless has been a close one, and in fairness it was Forgiven that shoved down and took those two turrets in the bottom lane.
He did win the lane, yes, but right now team fight, when you have the ultimate from Sivir on Fnatic, they can just choose whenever they want to fight. If they get in a bad situation, they can just run away with it. If they catch someone out, they can go in with it.
And lack of communication maybe in that last team fight. You know, a pincer move is one of the hardest things I would say in League of Legends to pull off. You know, if you can focus that target on the exact right thing. Good trade there coming out from Youngbuck up against Soaz.
Yeah, he has his Cutlass. Once he finishes the Blade of the Rune King, he will actually be able to really do a lot of damage onto Soaz. He's doing the same thing though, and also has a Cutlass. So
yeah,
he wants to battle out.
It, though, yeah. It didn't work out too well in his favor. But you can't count out Peke because, again, 3-0-1, he's got going on Ziggs. Ziggs is a champion that was huge at the start of the 2014 season. Did receive a few nerfs, which is why we saw him falling off, but once again, he's back in action and doing great.
And that's the thing right now for Fnatic. They don't have to do anything about Youngbuck in top lane. They can just force something elsewhere. There's not really any hard engage on Copenhagen Wolves side, and with the 6 and the Sivir to just constantly clear down the waves, Fnatic can just pressure mid and bot and force Youngbuck to teleport down and start a fight.
When we saw the kill participation of Amazing was 85% for the Copenhagen Wolves, and again, you see him sneaking in towards this top bush. He wants to try and get something going. Youngbuck desperately thinks he can win this fight against Soaz. A little bit of help from Amazing would certainly win it for him, but look at the minimap. You see Cyanide, you see Yellowstar, all moving into position to help out.
Amazing was there for the counter gank and more the safety. Right now, if Source keeps moving forward, he will still be able to escape, and this is actually going to be bad. Oh, he's betting it out.
This is bad news for the Copenhagen Wolves, and Soaz baited that very nicely. Youngbuck's going to get caught out. Dominus being used And Fnatic actually playing this one safe because they realize Unlimited and Kautar are now closing in. It's going to be a 4-on-3 situation in the top lane. Stun being used by Yellowstar. Slow catching on towards Soaz. That will manage to leash him down, but again, they get away.
They get away, and meanwhile, they are pushing down the bottom and the mid lane. Copenhagen Wolves has to respond, get this turret, and then recall. But look at the bomb come in from Peke. He's clearing the entire wave.
Yeah, no. Well, it's like, do you want to tank it? Because that's all you're going to be able to do. Instead, Peke, he's pushing onto the inhibitor turret on his own. The bottom inner turret, that's being pushed as well. Yellowstar, he's just trying to buy time for his team here. That's all he's doing. It's going to work out for him. He will go down, but he doesn't care about that because the bottom inner turret is going down to Reckless.
Look at Cyanide, though. He's actually being caught out. Can he go? No, he gets... No, Youngbuck's going for him.
He's just kiting them. That's all he's doing. He's just keeping Youngbuck chasing on towards him. Peke is now moving towards that position. Soaz is keeping Kautar busy because they're just buying time for Reckless. Reckless down that bottom lane. Amazing is going to have a tough time stopping this AD carry pushing on the turret.
They're just playing Copenhagen Wolves around on the map at the moment. Every time they want to try and recall, they go in and try and stop them, and it works so far.
Well, you do see the blue buff.
Oh, that was a lot of damage.
Kautar, that one single bomb doing a lot of damage, like you're saying. That's another giant wave. Look at it just beating on towards the bottom inner turret. Finally, the same Forgiven that's getting down there. But like you say, they're just toying with them. They're keeping perfect pressure up across the map.
Yeah, they managed to trade the kill on Yellowstar for a turret. I think most teams will take that trade any day in favor of Fnatic.
For an inner turret as well, more importantly, and a bit of damage on both inhibitor turrets because you saw Peke put some damage on towards the middle one. So good advantages being picked up by Fnatic here. They are 6-0 so far in the LCS. Will they close out the day 7-0? It would be a ginormous start for them in the spring split.
Definitely. I mean, but they are playing so well all across the map. The only weakness this game, bot lane did lose. But then again, it was also due to the fact that the teleport came in and also Amazing came in afterwards to push the turret. So there wasn't really much they could do. And whenever someone is not having the best day, someone else just steps up. This game, Peke has been huge.
Peke has been huge. He's at 202 CS, leading the charge, even ahead of Reckless. And look at the gold advantage he has. It's a 2,000 almost guild lead over Kautar. Same with the AD carries. He's very close, but the top lane, Soaz, he's got himself almost a 1,000 gold lead as well. Junglers are close, supports are close as well. But it is going to be the Dragon being started off by Fnatic.
Peke is just in the mid lane right now clearing because Copenhagen Wolves want to give up the Dragon and just try and take something else.
Limited's going to try and get a sneaky steal, not quite going to be close enough. Top turret goes down. It's the Copenhagen Wolves that get that. They're going to pop that talisman. Can they catch on? Yes, they can. Flash Tibbers on Amazing. Repels away, but he's got nowhere to go. He's going to drop straight into Explosive Pack. Gets the invulnerability on him. Is it going to be enough? No, gets stunned up once again and taken down. It's Peke that gets his 4th kill of the game.
And there we see why the Civi ultimate is so strong. Instantly they realize he's being caught out, Amazing right here, and you just go for him and get the kill.
Forgiven desperately, 90 caliber netting away from Peke. It sends blood there, and they're going to keep on pushing. The Fnatic have a wave clear to come in. It's going to be a 4-on-5 pushing on the inhib turret.
And they have blue buff on Peke. He can just spam out the bombs, keep poking.
Well, Tibbers being used to try and clear that wave. Reckless getting a couple of hits on there. Youngbuck comes around the side. Not really the ideal situation, and Fnatic choosing to back away, keeping that big advantage they have. It's a 4,000 gold lead now.
And if Reckless can take this red buff again away from Copenhagen Wolves and then the huge wave in bot lane, he's gonna be very happy.
Yeah, he's actually, I tell a lot, he's actually behind in CS. That has surprised me. Forgiven, doing a great job at keeping that up, but the Copenhagen Wolves trying to react to this one. They're shoving for the middle turret.
And I like that Copenhagen Wolves keeps playing aggressive. They want to punish Fnatic every time they actually can. This time, bomb was used on the champions, not the minions.
But it does the job, exactly the same as it did in the top lane. And that Mega Inferno bomb, it's pretty annoying now.
That's a lot of gold
for Copenhagen Wolves. That is a lot of gold for the Reckless. He's going to be clearing that one out. Middle turret, they're going to keep pushing. But again, the mine's going down. Cyanide blocking off, uses the Ragnarok, pulling in, running perfect defensive use there. And Fnatic might try and turn this one back around. Peke chases on. They do get the turret, gets the stun on towards Kautar. We do see Soaz. He's tracking down, cutting through the jungle. He's going to go towards the Copenhagen Wolves. But it's a repel coming out from Amazing. They're going to try and back away from this one.
They managed to disengage, picked up the turret, didn't get a kill on that dive, but meanwhile, Source is just going crazy on the turret into top lane.
Yeah, and he's got the rest of Fnatic rotating around towards him. It's Youngbuck that does get there first, but the rest of Fnatic are going to be with him. Youngbuck has to be careful he doesn't get caught out. Stun available on Yellowstar. Is he going to come back on towards him? He has got that stun. Can he go for it instead? It's going to be the wall.
Nice
Youngbuck coming in. Good pillar coming out, but he has the turret gone down. They do manage to catch Peke out, and Copenhagen Wolves can chase on this one, but on the hunt was used, and Reckless should be able to escape.
Amazing pillar from Youngbuck. Can he do it again? Does he have mana for it actually?
I'm not too sure he's got the mana. The cocoon is going to be available. It's going to be a max range cocoon. Spell shield is available for Reckless, and he's waiting, trying to wait if he can get it. Does use the spell shield, flashes out the cocoon, and now they're going to try and turn it back on its head. Yellowstar around the side has got stun available. Tibbers is up as well. Is he going to use it? He's going to have to try and be a big play. Cyanide getting caught out, trying to run away from it. There's the Tibbers coming out from Yellowstar. Forgiven does take down Cyanide. Yellowstar in trouble now. Copenhagen Wolves can keep on chasing, but they need to get some objectives off the back of this. They do get the kill. What will they take down with it?
They can take the top lane turret unless Peke can wave it. Actually, he's respawning now. With Source trying to stop this, it would be very risky.
He's not going to go for it. Mega Inferno Bomb is available. Baron, that's a risky play with a Mega Inferno Bomb available. Of course, Cyanide down, which means they don't have Smite. But that Mega Inferno Bomb, it may as well be a huge Smite.
There's no ultimate on Kautar right now. If Peke manages to pull it in, there we go.
Mega Inferno Bomb goes in. Kautar taken low. Doesn't quite tank out the Baron, though. And they do trade it around. Peke does get Kautar down. The Barons do work. In comes Reckless as well. Copenhagen Wolves have to run like the wind here. Pillow being used. Amazing taken low. Forgiven low. Youngbuck's going to burn down. Ignite gets him down. Peke does the work. Another bomb lands. Unlimited takes that one in the back. Peke can clean up here. They're splitting. They're scattering. Trying to get away from this one. Forgiven tries to turn it around, but it's not going to work. Kites out. Peke has to flash away. Another bomb comes in. Now Unlimited's the target. He goes into the bush, invisible for a moment, but it's another kill. A double for Reckless.
And Copenhagen Wolves did everything right before they decided to go for the Baron. They could just have backed off, been happy with the kills they picked up. Instead, very risky Baron. Peke runs there straight from base and managed to pick up the first kill on Kautar and then clean up the rest.
An ace, and that means the Baron for Fnatic. Great plays, great counters. They seem to be knowing every single situation. And you know, you saw a number of ultimates and a lot of kiting going on from Fnatic, but it's simply buying time. And the moment Peke is back available, you know, the shot calls that come out from that team are on point so often. And again, they just made the perfect call.
And when you're facing this #1 team, you often get the mentality that you have to do something special to win it. Copenhagen Wolves right here, but they could get the Baron and then maybe keep snowballing the game, but it was too risky, way too risky.
And now they're rushing down. They're trying to go towards the dragon, but it's not up for a minute. Maybe they mistimed it. They're going to go for the blue instead. Like you said, risky players should just stick to the basics, because actually they were doing okay in the lanes. But they're trying to make these plays. So as out of position here, may catch out Peke. If he comes around this corner, the ward is there. They're going to get him. He's going to have that Baron buff, but he tries to jump away. Not going to be enough. Kautar flashes through and picks up the kill.
And now the risky play paid off. Nice setup right here. The ward comes over just as Peke walks in. Boom, taken down.
Soaz clearing out the ward down the bottom. Now he's running because he's going to get singled out. The rest of Fnatic, what will they do? Will they try and create pressure? They know Soaz is dead, but it looks like they might try and push the mid.
They can try and push the mid, but they're going to need a lot of time. Source really has to kite this one out, or they won't do much to the turret in mid.
Oh, and he may well get away. It's not going to be enough, though. He should get caught out in a second, but look at the time he's buying. It's Unlimited and Amazing that have gone back, but Soaz is still yet to die. And now he's actually may well get the help. One slice, he's got another dice in a moment. He uses it. He's going to get caught. Oh, the cocoon from Amazing. That should be enough. No, flashes, puts the dominance down. Is it going to be enough? He's still going on, while the rest of his team do try and push that middle lane. Copenhagen Wolves, though, finally get him down and defend the mid.
And Source did manage to buy a lot of time, so they could take the mid turret. We had Unlimited and Amazing recalling actually to go back and defend, but it was too late.
Now all 5 members of the Copenhagen Wolves push on towards the dragon. Reckless is thinking about starting off. There is Yellowstar standing by. Tibbers is up, but he's not going to go for it, it seems. Peke's going to back away. Youngbuck tanking out the turret. Ragnarok having to be used by Cyanide to back away from this one. And the Wolves start the dragon. Mega Inferno Bomb too early. They do take it down, but is there enough damage done? They may feel there is.
They have the Baron buff.
Youngbuck's taken low. They do have the Baron buff, like you say. Fnatic could chase. They do manage to lock up Amazing. One more hit should be enough to slow him down. Flash Tibbers comes in, and vulnerability comes out from Kautar. Is it going to be enough to keep them at bay? Unlimited's going to get taken down. That's going to be 2 amazing drops in the process. On the hunt being used by Reckless, they chasing down Coutard. The boomerang blade not quite going to catch on towards him, but remember the middle inhibitor is exposed and there's a giant wave on the top lane.
And Source is coming down right now. Oh, Yellowstar getting caught.
Yellowstar focused, he's going to get caught out, but Youngbook may. No, he gets the pillar down. Youngbook gets him, but it's at the cost of his life. A support for a top laner while your inhibitor is exposed is not good enough.
This can be an enemy for them. And look at the mid, I mean the wave in the top lane. Counter wisely enough goes up, clears it away so they can't rotate there.
Yeah, realizing the danger, does manage to keep it away. But Fnatic once again making plays. Remember, this is all with the Baron buff on those. So the Copenhagen Wolves, they kept them at bay quite well, because if they just sat back and farm, maybe they'd lost more.
They would, yeah, I mean, we don't really know. But one thing we need to touch on, once we see this replay, notice how they're going in right here. Keep an eye on Peke. As soon as the ultimate from Coutard is gone from Amazing, right away, beautiful ultimate, instant reactions on the tippers. But notice right here, he throws the bombs in the direction Amazing is, ultimate is gone, and he picks up the kill. And they have so much follow-up damage and chase potential right now, they can just keep going for it.
Yeah, Reckless nearly, if it had caught Coutard out there, I feel, that could have been game.
Because he
was the one that cleared out that wave at the top lane. So, Coutard lying in wait, but unfortunately, he's on top of a ward. Fnatic might try and set a trap themselves.
Right now though, when you have a 6 that fit, it's going to be very hard for Copenhagen Wolves to actually team fight, unless they can manage to catch someone out.
So as comes through, snarls at Coutard. The rest of the Wolves were standing by, apart from Youngbook, who's just shoved out that bottom wave. So they're keeping the lanes as clear as they can, trying to buy themselves time against Fnatic, but they know they're going to be in full defensive duties.
And Peke just used his ultimate in the bot lane to get it pushing in Fnatic's favor. It's going to now shove down, and they want to force Youngbook to either teleport into this to defend, or just, you know, be there from the start and let the wave push.
Oh, the Wolves, they're trying to play something fancy again here, but they may get caught out themselves. They've got to run in towards the middle inhibitor turret. That's going to leave Coutard on single defensive duties. Forgiven wisely uses that 90 caliber net to get around. They do get themselves back in towards defensive position on this inhib.
Some very good burst though from Coutard onto Reckless. His Q took about 25% of the HP. If they can manage to catch Reckless out of position, they'll be able to kill him very fast.
So as steps off towards the middle, helps those super minions pushing through. Remember, the bottom lane is still fairly safe at the moment, so it's the middle they're trying to create the pressure on. We see Forgiven is going to go down, deal with those super minions already. They should be wiped out, but Fnatic, they're going to keep chipping away, getting damage on towards that top turret.
Look how much damage Peke is doing on one auto attack to this turret. The longer they can do this, the more poke they can get in. At some point, they will force Copenhagen Wolves to engage.
Well, those bombs certainly doing work. So as once again goes in towards that inhibitor turret, keeps the pressure down, keeps Forgiven busy, keeps those minions rolling, while the other 4 members of the Fnatic keep on pushing in there. This time Youngbook and Amazing trying to keep them away, trying to keep them off there. That is going to be a lot more damage. Surely they could get on to it. Ace in the hole, lands nicely. Mega Inferno Bomb thrown out straight away by Peke, fearful there of the damage that was coming in.
Great defense right now by Copenhagen Wolves. And also the bot lane wave, it pushed so slow that it wasn't actually an issue for them. Now instead they can pick up a huge wave of gold.
Yeah, they're going to back away. There's a minion before Baron, and Fnatic going to be all aware of the time as they have to get back, get themselves prepared for the next big fight at Baron.
Baron is definitely going to be, I wouldn't say the decider, but the next fight we're going to see. If Fnatic manage to win it, they can just pile down on the base of Copenhagen Wolves and take either all the inhibs or try and finish the game.
Okay, let's take ourselves a brief moment, a brief respite to actually look at the item builds, because you can see Peke has gigantic damage. We know though, if KO can keep holding on, keep on building up, then maybe that KO could become a beast.
Yeah, but right now he's far away from the items he needs. Yeah. He wants to have at least the death cap and the void staff as well to do the maximum amount of burst, especially because he has also to deal with Soas, who's going to be in his face all the time. Peke though, if he picks up the Lich Bane, the amount of damage he can do to the turrets is going to be insane.
Is that not an early Guardian Angels for Amazing?
Fairly early, but then again he has been the focus in pretty much every fight, and he's 0-5. They just catch him out every time and finish him.
We'll see whether he manages to use it. It's the problem when you're this far behind. I start to worry about defensive items like that, because often it's a case of, well, you've got a defensive item, you die, but you're just going to respawn in amongst the entire Fnatic team, which could be a serious problem. Ward placement's coming out for the Baron. The Baron is now up. Dragon's going to be just 50 seconds away, so the next fight could be a big one for either team.
Again, Copenhagen Wolves has the issue that their base is so open. and they also know how much damage Fnatic can do on the turrets. They can risk dying everyone, so that's going to make them very scared of going into the 5v5 fight.
Well, we do see the Wolves, they've shoved out a good wave in that middle lane, and they managed to clear it out, so they don't need to deal with super minions just yet, and actually they're putting a bit of pressure to the point that Reckless and Peke have had to rotate around, so as doing a defensive job to keep that inner turret safe.
They're pretty much doing what they need to do right now. The vision control is in Fnatic's favor. However, as long as they can keep shoving up the mid lane and force Fnatic to stay in the mid lane, Fnatic won't really be able to do anything on the Baron.
They're caught out of position. The Wolves once again, that's the Mega Inferno bomb coming out, and Copenhagen Wolves desperately running away from this one. Forgiven tries to get away, but they're just going to chase him down. That's the AD carry down, and now we're going to see Youngbuck running for his life, but Peke closes him out. That is surely going to give Fnatic a giant advantage pushing into the base.
They can take 2 inhibs of this at least and then go for the Baron, or they can actually try and finish it. They still have a lot of damage to bring out if they want to go for it.
Well, it's 40-second death timers here for the Copenhagen Wolves, and Kauta desperately trying to rush on towards Peke. Should take him down, yes he does. Has to use that ultimate though, keeps him at bay. Is that going to be enough to buy them time? It seems it will be, and Fnatic back off.
Great play actually from Kauta, pretty much saving the game for Copenhagen Wolves right here. Will Fnatic still go for the Baron? It will be a bit more risky, especially because the 3 members are healthy and can actually move up instantly from Copenhagen Wolves.
Well, it seems that Copenhagen Wolves are reading this one as well. They're going to rush up there, but without the AD carry, without that top laner, it's going to be a 4v3, and a dangerous 4v3 at that, because
Teleport on Youngbuck.
Stun not available by Yellowstar. Teleport is going to be enough to keep them at bay. Remember, last time this happened, the Copenhagen Wolves were caught out at Baron. This time it could have been role reverse, and wisely Fnatic step away instantly. Wolves, no, this is a wrong choice. They should not be going
Forgiven
for this.
can be there way before Peke, who's still dead for 10 seconds, so they can get the fight 5v4, and Copenhagen Wolves might be able to win it.
On the hunt is available though. Reckless could turn and fight this one. So as in there, Youngbuck's going to be the one that tries to put it in their face. Kautar's going to be important. He has to get the damage on the right target. It's Cyanide they were focusing on. Yellowstar comes in. He's going to get taken very low. Ace in the hole comes in. Not enough to step him off. So as he's going to get targeted at the side there. He's split off from the rest of his team. Pillar comes in from Youngbuck. Slice and dice dope from Soaz is going to be enough to get away. Peke is back up. Mega Inferno bomb comes in. Lands onto Kautar. Youngbuck now all on his own, and Kautar has to use that invulnerability once again. And Youngbuck to chase. Peke cuts off. He's going to throw the mines out. Catches onto Unlimited. Catches onto Youngbuck. They're catching them all out, but he turns it back around. Peke goes too close and gets burst down by Forgiven. And now everyone from Wolves backs away. But Fnatic should chase. 90 caliber net. Great use there. Catching on towards Reckless. And back and forth this keeps on going. Neither team can Baron.
Such a long fight. Peke came in, jumped over the wall to Nesha, picked up a kill, but he got too close and managed to die for it. Had he stayed alive, they could have taken this Nesha a bit more safe.
Very risky Baron though, because 3 members of the Wolves are still sticking around here. Ace in the hole not available, but they're going to go for it. They do catch the cocoon on towards Soaz. Have they got enough damage from the AD carry? Yes, they have. They take down Soaz. While this is happening, it's going to be 1 Nexus turret going down. Cyanide getting focused on Ragnarok coming out here, but Forgiven's going to chase on towards him. He's got to be careful. Reckless is coming around the side. Forgiven goes into the push, and a low hit point damage does manage to take Cyanide down, but Reckless will chase on Forgiven. He's going to keep the pressure on. While this is all happening, Kautar's desperately defending. They lost 1 Nexus turret already. Can they lose more? It seems they will hold on for now. And Baron still untouched, smiling at both teams.
And these team fights have exploded. Fnatic once again went in for the Baron. Copenhagen Wolves responds, comes back and picks up 2 kills for them actually. Cyanide, he tried to pick up the kill on Unlimited. He wasn't able to do it and got punished for it. Right now though, situation is the same. Fnatic is in the lead. The base for Copenhagen Wolves is open for pretty much everything, and they already lost 1 turret.
Wow. What a match so far. 37 minutes gone. Definitely a faster paced game than the SK Super Hot group. And Peke, he's been involved in everything so far.
Everything. I mean, they were just waiting for him to come out here. They were kiting them before. Soaz did actually an amazing thing. He got ulted by Youngbuck. Normally, you would see the tank going in. He just kept kiting. He didn't want to go in with the ultimate on. He knew he would be too squishy, and he bought a lot of time for Fnatic to actually come back with Peke and then, you know, pick up a kill. Sadly though for Peke, he did get caught as well.
In that last back, Forgiven managed to get himself the Infinity Edge complete, and Kautar got the Rabadon's Death Cap complete. Youngbuck face checking in towards Soaz. Soaz not too worried about that one, both back and forth just beating each other, those 2 top laners, not really doing any damage to one another. Yellowstar, Ace in the hole, lands on towards Yellowstar there, and that's on the hunt already being used by Reckless. Can they turn and chase on towards this one? They will come around the side. It's a split fight for the Wolves. but Fnatic don't seem to be landing anything, and that's a couple of ultimates burnt.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff burned for Fnatic right here. Talisman was used as well. Ulti from Soaz is going to run out in just a few seconds. If Copenhagen Wolves fights now, they will have the advantage.
This is a dangerous, dangerous time for Fnatic because all inhibitors are up for the Wolves and all lanes are actually pushing in their favor. So if they were to lose a fight, they could potentially lose the game, which is why Fnatic suddenly realizing they have to be very cautious in this next fight.
They might just want to try and recall and get away, or will they actually try and go for this inhib?
Yeah, they're going to try and push on towards that bottom lane. Copenhagen Wolves are a little split off here. That's going to be enough for Fnatic to hold out here. And again, Soaz goes back to Baron. But they are close by still, the Wolves.
The Wolves knows everything that's going on right now. They are moving in for this. Forgiven is behind, but will he get there in time?
They're giving a long way from this one. No, that's going to be Youngblood taken so low, but it's not going to be enough. But that means it will be a 4-on-5 fight. Copenhagen Wolves come back in again. Peke taken low. Yellowstar getting pounced on. Amazing will go for this one. It's Peke's the target they want, but he gets split off. Guardian Angel has been used. Is it going to be enough? Soaz is stuck in the Baron pit. Now we can see the Wolves. They're turning on to Baron. They get the Baron. Now they have to run away from this one. The Copenhagen Wolves can turn this fight around, though, because Kautar's ultimates will be back available in a few moments. They're going to keep on chasing. Peke's running. He wants the backdoor once again, but it's not going to be enough. There's minions in there. Youngblood gets caught out. Youngblood gets exploded by Peke, but Kautar's going to find him. And now the Copenhagen Wolves, they flash in there. They get the stun, they get the kill, but they're still not getting objectives.
And they have to defend this inhib. Can he pick up the kill on Cyanide, though?
Cyanide will go down. 90 caliber net. Piltover missed! It missed the Piltover Peacemaker. And that means Fnatic going to keep a 4-man advantage. And they hold on again. And yet, looking at the map, there's nothing they can get from it.
We did get the Baron, though, to Copenhagen Wolves. We did also see how a no magic resist Trundle handles a very FedEx Peke not very well. He got bursted down so hard. However, though, there is a Baron buff on Copenhagen Wolves now. This is the time where they can push up and they can actually start, you know, deciding the fights.
Pickerman will start off, built over Peacemaker. Yellowstar was there, so as it's just off the side, it's got to be very cautious. We talked about this Kayle, how strong a Kayle can get late game. This is actually a tricky dragon for Fnatic, I feel. Unless the Wolves decide to come down, they could be in trouble. They will take it very quickly. Wolves are not really responding quick enough. They're going to get it and run. Yeah,
pretty much just picking up this fast. Sloppy play by Copenhagen Wolves. They should have gone for this one. It's a lot of gold here in the late game, and it was actually what they needed to, you know, do more of the comeback right here. They're still 4,000 gold behind. It will be hard for them. However, as you touched about, the Kayle is really starting to hurt.
Yeah, we've already seen him dropping Peke very quickly. Rectus was caught out, Cyanide was caught out, so a lot of these players getting caught out by the burst that Kautar has, and Youngblood, with that teleport available, can begin a split push now.
And Peke is going all in on the damage. He's not going for Sonyas, no Banshees, no Guardian Angel. He's going to go full in on the damage and just try and do as much as he can early in the fight to burst down a target.
Let's not forget Caitlyn versus Sivir. This is still really both these champions, you know, the CS is pretty close, but actually the builds are scary right now because they're already closing on 6-item builds. Both these players, the gold, you only see it's a 5,000 gold difference, and it's the Wolves now pushing on towards this inner turret.
Fnatic will, though, be able to burst down Youngblood really fast. We've seen the damage Peke does. On the other side, if they can kill him, on the other side, Renekton going in, he has a lot of armor. It's going to be hard for Forgiven to kill him fast, but with the help of Kautar, they might be able to more or less burst him down.
With this Baron buff on, they have to start trying to take some objectives. It's only going to have a short time available. And you can already see, with that wave clear, like you mentioned earlier on, with the Sivir, with the Ziggs, it's very hard to shove those towers because they have such tremendous wave clear.
Yeah, Copenhagen Wolves want Fnatic to push out of the base and then try to fight in the open. Right now, they won't really be able to push anything. And at the same time, if there should actually be a fight, I'm really feeling this lack of magic resist on Trundle is going to be a huge issue for them. And unless they can manage to burst down a target themselves, he might just die and Fnatic can use on the hunt and roll over them.
Well, Baron is about to wear off on the Copenhagen Wolves, which makes them all equal once again. 9-4 the turret advantage that Fnatic have, and yet no objectives being picked up by Copenhagen Wolves during that period of advantage they had. They have managed to keep the waves pushed out of their base. Of course, they do still have those 2 exposed inhibitors, but with everything up, it is actually pretty even in team fights, as we've seen so far.
Notice Peke right here. He might want to try and show out the lane, yes, with his ultimate, and then rotate down to the mid lane and try and force a fight at the inhibitor for Copenhagen Wolves.
The Wolves, they have to be careful because they've been caught out of position a few too many times, which is what's created these opportunities. Fnatic may well try and brute force this mid lane. Forgiven actually putting a lot of damage on the back of Soaz there.
A lot of damage coming out of him right here. That is a danger signal for Soaz. He's going to be very careful when going in.
Yeah, not tanky enough, it seems, despite the Randian's Omen Sunfire cape he has. Forgiven has so much damage stacked on that AD carry. Once you start hitting the 43-minute mark, it is all about the AD carries. And they have huge damage. Jungkook doing great wave clear, continuing to shove the lanes, but again, might be out of position here as Fnatic keeps shoving the mid.
He's far out, he has to start moving back, otherwise Fnatic can actually just force it in. He has to teleport, but you don't really want to teleport this short of a distance, and especially not in the late game fights, when there's so much damage coming out.
Instead, he's moving through the jungle and may try and head them off here. Has used his little speed buff that he gets. And is he going to cut across the side there? Reckless, Reckless getting very close to getting caught out there. A good pillar would have been able to separate him from his team. Maybe have to force out that on the hunt ultimate that he has. Instead, this Fnatic continuing to siege.
There's no blue buff on Pekka right now, so he has to worry a little bit about his mana. If he can pick up a blue buff, Eddie can do this again. He will just keep poking and poking.
And as you see, the top and bottom wave have to be cleared out. Peke goes down, throws out that Mega Inferno Bomb, continues that wave clear. But it is the Wolves now with that advantage. They're seeing it, they're sensing it, they're going to rush for the mid in here.
And Fnatic is out of position. Two people are moving towards the bot lane, and they're just pushing up the mid for Copenhagen Wolves.
That's the inner turret surely gone here. I don't think they're going to be able to stop this one. There it goes. Because remember, the damage that you can get on those turrets with a Kayle and a Caitlyn, this fed, this late on, they will take turrets down very quickly.
It's just a matter of a few seconds and this turret is gone. Smart play by Copenhagen Wolves though. They force Fnatic to move around the map and then they just pick up a free turret.
So they didn't really deal with the bottom and top lanes because they are still pushed, and the Wolves are keeping sufficient pressure on Fnatic that they're having to stick around and nobody can go off and deal with them. We are seeing Reckless heading off towards that top lane, so he's going to be dealing with that. The Wolves are backing off, and again, we're in this situation. A minute to Baron, a minute to Dragon. We're going to have that fight all again.
And we're gonna see both teams trying to fight for the Vision War at first. If they can manage to get control of the area with the wards and then catch out someone, it's a huge win here late game. Source, not Source, we see Yellow Star recalling, getting some more wards, and then he's gonna go back and they're gonna try and force the smash jump.
Oh, the Andrews has been completed by Amazing. We did see a Banshee's Veil just picked up by Reckless as well, so everybody's starting to accumulate and build towards their end game build. Randy Omen almost picked up by Amazing, so he's going to be a problem now. That at least in this Cyanide, of course, well, he's a giant tank and he's going to be running headlong for Forgiven or Kautai, trying to force out that ultimate. But again, Fnatic pushing in here, and Youngbuck, he's shoving the bomb lane.
He's just shoving it out. He want to keep pressure on Fnatic, and he want to get Pekka to use his ultimate to clear the wave, so he won't have it for a potential fight.
Well, he's pushed that wave, that's going to be dealt with. He's going to stick there because they've got vision. They do get ace in a hole on Peke. Peke forced low here, and they're going to keep on pushing onto Ulcinta. Copenhagen Wolves doing pressure. That's on the hunt's been used here, but they're split across here. Fnatic 3v1 at the moment. Will they manage to catch it? A Mega Inferno Bomb catches on Amazing. Guardian Angel is up. Tether's going to land on Cyanide. They're going to keep the pressure down. Youngbuck is going to teleport in. Is it going to be enough? Pillar does manage to keep them at bay, and the Copenhagen Wolves keep on chasing.
Nobody is dead yet. The flash from Forgiven saved his life. Flash tables from Yellow Star almost hit him, but amazing reactions, and he survived.
Copenhagen Wolves catching Fnatic out of position and maybe going to try what they did to Fnatic themselves. Of course, pushing in towards that inhibitor.
They can take the turret.
They could try and get it. Instead, they're going to go towards that bottom wave. Will they be there quick enough, though? Because the rest of Fnatic catching in there. They will take this turret down very quickly.
But Fnatic, will they try and disengage? There's home guards on Source. He doesn't have any ultimate, though.
Amazing running interference, keeping them at bay. Peke throwing out the mine, separating the team, but the Wolves don't care. They've taken another turret down. They are doing a great job in late game.
It is once again great rotation by Copenhagen Wolves. They take everything they can get, and they're not playing the same risky game they did earlier. They're playing a lot more safe now.
So, Fnatic know that the Baron is up and desperately trying to get across there. They think they've managed to catch for the Copenhagen Wolves out of position. They started on the Dragon, but they're going straight away back up towards that Baron. They want to get some vision in there. Fnatic have started it. This is dangerous.
This is very dangerous, and they actually pretty much cancel it instantly. They just want to force a reaction from Copenhagen Wolves, and it's coming.
The reaction is there. Youngbuck goes in, Pillar thrown down. Peke taking again the front-loaded damage. He's getting caught out of position a few too many times here.
Yeah, and he's built pure damage. If they manage to catch him, he will die instantly at this point. They tried to do it here in the mid-fight. That's also why Pega was gone, and Youngbuck could just tank it up with no Pega hitting on him.
Yeah, one bad fight right now for Fnatic. The death timers will be around about the 45-second mark. They could lose a big chunk of their base, if not all of it.
We do see no. Copenhagen Wolves are going to recall, come back with new items. Youngbuck building more and more MR. Once he picks up the Spirit Visage, he's going to be very hard to kill for Fnatic.
Yeah, remember they don't have teleport this time around, which is how they were creating that pressure. So there's a big timer on that one, so the Wolves will slow down the pressure they were keeping. They are keeping all the waves, though, shoved in. The top lane in a turret may be the next focus.
Definitely. I think, though, right now, Baron is the key moment.
Yes.
Fnatic wants to have Copenhagen Wolves moving into this area. You see Yellow's almost catching out Kautot actually.
Unlimited again, speeds himself up. Fnatic do get themselves into
Started
that
again.
death push. Again, damage on towards Peke. The poke comes out. They've started the Baron, but all of the Wolves are close. Soaz is actually separated from his team here.
And once again, they just want to force a reaction. The bot lane is pushing in favor of Fnatic, but it's going to take a long time before it actually gets to the base of Copenhagen Wolves. Instead, Copenhagen Wolves now making the move.
Yeah, they have ward coverage here. Youngbuck going to go in towards it. He wants to go towards Soaz, instead just runs away, tries to keep them at bay here. Will they try and make any maneuvering? They do. They go in, they think they've singled out Cyanide, has to use Ragnarok to back away. Speedball Talisman being used by Copenhagen Wolves. Forgiven caught out. Reckless doing damage on him, but they disengage.
Forgiven went all in on Pega right there. He might even have gotten too far in. He managed to net away though. He didn't have his flash. Had he been caught out right there, it would have been deadly for Copenhagen Wolves.
On the hunt was used, an amazing taking advantage of this slight respite. It's going to take away Dragon. That's going to close that gold gap once again, because this is going to be a lot of gold at this stage. You can see it's just 2,000 gold now separating these two teams 50 minutes into the game.
And right now, the fights are just, I'm hitting your tank, you're hitting our tank. Which one can survive the most? As long as the backline of Copenhagen Wolves can avoid the flash tippers from Yellowstar, they will be able to deal a lot of damage onto Cyanide and Soaz, and they might actually be able to win the fights. Pega, however, if he's left alone, he will do so much damage.
Sweeping lens from Fnatic clears out the ward coverage, and again they start on the Baron. This time Yellowstar running interference, trying to keep them at bay. Peke with the mines, will it have done enough? Not too sure. Ace in the hole comes through, does get blocked off by Reckless. His spirit, his shield. Instead he's going to be Cyanide locked up again. Mega Inferno Bomb thrown out. Soaz coming to the back. Soaz doing a great job of singling out Forgiven. Forgiven can't get involved in this fight. Youngbuck is all on his own in this fight and will go down. Soaz simply running interference, gets away. Very tight though, so effectively a 4v5 because Soaz is not involved anymore.
He's gone right now. He will have home guard and try and come back, but he won't be here for the fight.
Forgiven doing damage around the backside, trying to catch on towards it. Peke very low, but there is minions all over the bottom tower. The final inhibitor turret. Kautot wants to get on towards Peke. Oh, that cocoon not quite landing on the back of Yellowstar.
Kautot has no flash right now. He really wants to flash in onto Pega, but he can't. Instead, Soaz coming down from behind, and they can get the 5v4.
Soaz back up, he's being forced away, corralled away, but that bottom inhibitor turret is taking a hell of a pounding from those minions of Fnatic. No, they just need to hold this siege out and they will take the turret down. Ace in the hole once again, blocked out by the spell shield of Reckless. Baron being started off, but again not getting caught out. Net 90 caliber net shot from Forgiven, gets stunned down, has to cleanse away, tries to run. Kautot goes in for Reckless at the back. Reckless is taken so low, he gets dropped, but he quickly gets the revenge kill. That's going to be Forgiven going down. Kautot on towards Yellowstar, doing a lot of damage. Peke comes in, has he got the damage? No, Peke takes him down. Amazing jumps on towards Peke, doesn't matter, gets the ghost out. Guardian Angel comes in, Unlimited trying to buy himself some time instead. He's just buying himself a death. Amazing tries to run to Baron, and it is the Fnatic finally cleans up. It's a 4-0, 4-1. Teleport, cancel that, Youngbuck. You are not welcome here. Fnatic are going to push for the win.
And Fnatic simply wins due to being 5 versus 4. Youngbuck is the only man alive. He won't be able to do much in this defense. And Fnatic can either pick up all the inhibs or actually try and finish the game. They have a long time.
Fnatic pushing through here. The bottom inhibitor is going to be burned down. Once that goes, the Nexus turret will be next. They may be low on hit points, but they don't care about that. Youngbuck's going to flash on Peke. Can he get Peke down? Yes, he can. Should it be enough? Yes, he finishes off one. Can he hold on? There's a giant death timers here. He's just going to get dropped down, but is it enough to keep them up? 18 seconds on Forgiven. Fnatic going to push on through. The final Nexus turret will go down, and Fnatic's win streak continues. They will be 7-0 in the LCS. You've got to give credit to the Copenhagen Wolves. They did a great defensive job, but another 52-minute epic for Fnatic closes out the win.
And they are so experienced in these late game fights. They were just waiting for Source to come. They kept baiting out the Baron. They kept forcing Copenhagen Wolves to stay around the area. Once Source was there, they popped on the hunt and went in for the fight and won it. Copenhagen Wolves could have given up the Baron, but honestly, I think they just expected to get rolled over if Fnatic had also the Baron.
And you can see Fnatic not really jumping for joy at the end of that one, because that was a hard-fought victory. The Copenhagen Wolves put him to the test, Roccat put him to the test. Fnatic are not unbeatable. However, they are 7-0 in the LCS.
The
perfect season continues. Can they close on towards the record of Cloud9?
I want to say yes, but then you see games like this, which are so close. And this just shows also the EU LCS, how many teams can actually battle each other, and how good are these teams. Copenhagen Wolves rotations, after they stopped doing the risky plays, were amazing. They just managed to pick up turrets every time Fnatic made a misstep. In the end though, they lost too much of their base early on.